Welcome all. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about contact between statistics and thermodynamics, and the content of this lecture is from the textbook R.K. Pathria and P.D. Bill. Suppose we consider two physical systems A1 and A2 which are separately in equilibrium. Now, what do you mean by equilibrium? That I will discuss with an example. Suppose we begin by considering the familiar example of opening a bottle of perfume. Suppose you have a bottle of perfume, say at one end of a room. Suppose you are at a particular end of a room with a bottle of perfume and you have opened that. Now, when it is being released, the quantum states located near the mouth of the bottle have relatively higher probabilities of containing the molecules of the perfume than those at the other end of the room. As you are one end of the room and you have just opened the bottle of the perfume, so it is quite expected that the molecules which is nearer, gas molecules which is quite nearer to the bottle, so they have relatively higher probabilities of containing the molecules of the perfume with respect to the other end of the room. However, with passage of time, the perfume molecules move on and fill the entire room because of the diffusion. We know that what is diffusion. So, after some certain instant of time, the perfume molecules will move on and fill the entire room. In other words, the probabilities keep changing. That is, probabilities of finding a perfume molecule in that particular room keep on changing. In other words, the probabilities keep changing till such time that the molecules are equally likely to be found anywhere in the room. Then the system is said to be in equilibrium. So, an isolated system is said to be in equilibrium when the probabilities of it being in the various accessible states do not vary with time. So, this line is very important, that is, an isolated system is said to be in equilibrium when the probabilities of it being in the various accessible states do not vary with time. So, this is what we mean by the term equilibrium. Now, just we are again coming back to the main discussion. So, we are considering two physical systems A1 and A2 which are separated, separately in equilibrium state. So, each of the system are in equilibrium state. Let the macro state of A1, that is first system, be represented by the parameters N1, V1 and E1. In our previous lecture, we have already discussed that is three parameters needed to describe a macro states. These three parameters are N, V and E. So, for the system A1, the parameters are N1, V1 and E1, and so that it has omega 1 is a function of N1, V1, E1. So, what is omega 1? Omega 1 is the possible number of microstates for the system A1, and the macro state of A2 that can be represented by the parameters N2, V2 and E2, so that for A2 the total number of microstates omega 2, it is a function of N2, V2 and E2. The mathematical form of the function omega 1 may not be the same as that of the function omega 2, because that ultimately depends on the nature of the system. We do of course believe that all thermodynamic properties of the systems A1 A1 and A2 can be derived from the functions omega 1 and omega 2 respectively, that we will discuss step by step. Now suppose we now bring the two systems into thermal contact with each other. Suppose we are bringing the systems with thermal contact with each other. Suppose this is system A1 and this is system A2 and they are in thermal contact. So what do you mean by thermal contact? Thermal contact means that is it allows the possibility of exchange of energy between the systems. This can be done by sliding in a conducting wall and removing the impervious one. For simplicity, the two systems are still separated by a rigid impenetrable wall, so that the respective volumes V1 and V2 and the respective particle numbers N1 and N2 remain fixed. So they are separated in such a way so that energy exchange is permissible. However, the volumes and the number of particles are unchanged. The energies E1 and E2, however, become variable, and the only condition that restricts their variation is E0 is equal to the E1 plus E2, that is equal to constant. So what is E0? E0 is the total energy of the two systems, that is the composite system we can say. So total energy of the composite system is E0, which is the sum of the individual energy of the systems, that is E1 and E2. So E0 is equal to E1 plus E2, that is a constant. So E0 is the energy of the composite system. We can define the composite system as A0. A0 is equivalent to E1 plus A2. The energy of interaction between A1 and A2, if any, is being neglected. So we are neglecting the interaction energy between the systems A1 and A2. Now at any time t, the subsystem A1 is equally likely to be in any one of the omega 1 microstates, while the subsystem A2 is equally likely to be in any one of the omega 2 microstates, because we have already discussed the equal a priori probability in our earlier lecture. Therefore, the composite system A0 is equally likely to be in any one of the omega 1 into omega 2 microstates. Actually, this is the multiplicative nature of the probability, that is individual probability for the system A1 is omega 1 and for the system is omega 2. So we are, when we are considering the composite system, then the composite system is equally likely to be in any one of the state defined by the parameter omega 1 into omega 2, where omega 1 is a function of E1, omega 2 is a function of E2. So this particular parameter can be simplified in this manner. We are writing this expression in this way. You see there is E2. So we are writing E2 as E0 minus E1, because we have already wrote that E0 is equal to E1 plus E2. So what we are doing, we are expressing this in terms of E0 and E1 only. So we are writing E2 as E0 minus E1. So ultimately we can write this expression as, that is omega 1 into omega 2, we are writing as omega 0, that is a function of E0 comma E1. Clearly the number omega 0 itself varies with E1, because E1 is variable, we have already told. As there is energy exchange, so energy is a variable parameter and omega 0 varies with E1. The question now arises, at what value of E1 will the composite system be in equilibrium? In other words, how far will the energy exchange go in order to bring the subsystems A1 and A2 into mutual equilibrium? So this is very important question, that is what value of E1, at what value of E1 will the composite system be in equilibrium? So when the composite system will be equilibrium, in other words we can say, that is, so at that time there will be no energy exchange, because we are saying in this way, that is how far will the energy exchange go in order to bring the subsystems A1 and A2 into mutual equilibrium. We assert that this will happen at that value of U1 which maximizes the number omega 0. So, when the value of omega 0 will be maximum, at that time there will be equilibrium. So, why it is so? The philosophy behind this assertion is that a physical system left to itself proceeds naturally. I am again concentrating on the term naturally, that is, it is a natural phenomena, proceeds naturally in a direction that enables it to assume an ever increasing number of microstates until it finally settles down in a macrostate that affords the largest possible number of microstates. This is very important sentence, that is, it is a natural phenomena. If a system is left to itself, then it is very natural that enables it to assume an ever increasing number of microstates. So, number of microstates will continue increasing until it finally settles down in a macrostate that affords the largest possible number of microstates. Statistically speaking, we regard a macrostate with a larger number of microstates as a more probable states. So, when there is larger number of microstates, we can say that that particular state is more probable, and the one with the largest number of microstates as the most probable one. So, when there will be largest number of microstates, that state will be the most probable states. Detailed studies show that for a typical system, the number of microstates pertaining to any macrostate that differs even slightly from the most probable one is orders of magnitude smaller than the number pertaining to the latter. So, the meaning of the sentence is that thus the most probable state of a system is the macrostate in which the system spends an overwhelmingly large fraction of its time. It is then natural to identify this state with the equilibrium state of the system. So, this sentence is very important, that is, the most probable state of a system is the macrostate in which the system spends an overwhelmingly large fraction of its time. It is then natural to identify this state with the equilibrium state that we are discussed earlier, that is, when the equilibrium condition will be achieved. So, that state will be the equilibrium state of the system. Denoting the equilibrium value of E1, that is, as E1 is changing. So, at a particular value of E1 which is E1 bar, so at that particular value equilibrium of the system will be established. So, at the equilibrium state, the value of E1 will be E1 bar and the value of E2 will be E2 bar, and at that time equilibrium will be achieved, and in the same time we can say, that is, we have to maximize omega 0, because we have already told that for the equilibrium states number of microstates will be maximum. So, we have to maximize the omega 0. So, how to maximize the omega 0? This is the expression of omega 0, left hand side. So, you have to just differentiate left hand side with respect to E1, that is, for which value of E1 the omega 0 will be maximum. So, we have to differentiate equation 2. So, here we have differentiated equation 2. So, you see the left hand side is a function of omega 1 and omega 2, product of omega 1 and omega 2, and we are differentiating with respect to E1. So, as it is a product form, so the first factor will be del omega 1 del E1, omega 2 will be a constant, and the second factor will be omega 1 is a constant, and we are differentiating omega 2 with respect to E1, but we are writing in this way, that is del omega 2 by del E2 into del E2 by del E1, because it is equivalent to del omega 2 by del E1, because del E2 cancels out. So, this is same thing as writing as del omega 2 by del E1. And point to be noted that here we are writing E1 equal to E1 bar, because as it is a equilibrium state, and in the equilibrium state the value of E1 is E1 bar and E2 is E2 bar. So we are writing in this way, that is E1 equal to E1 bar and E2 is equal to E2 bar. So now this factor should be 0. Now what is the value of del E2 by del E1? Del E2 by del E1 will be minus 1. Why? Because you see the equation 1. Equation 1 is that E0 is equal to E1 plus E2. Now E0 is a constant. So if you differentiate this equation with respect to E1, left hand side will be 0 and right hand side will be 1 plus del E2 by del E1. So del E2 by del E1 will be definitely minus 1. So you just put minus 1 here, and if you put minus 1 here, then if you put the negative term in the right hand side, then we can write this equation in a simple manner, that is in the left hand side will be del ln omega 1 by del E1 is equal to del ln omega 2 by del E2. So thus our condition for equilibrium reduces to the equality of the parameters beta 1 and beta 2 of the subsystems A1 and A2, where we are defining beta by this expression. Beta is equivalent to del ln omega by del E, and it is a function of n. Omega is a function of NVE, and as we are saying that the system is in equilibrium, so we have to write n comma v comma e equal to e bar. Why e equal to e bar? Because this is a equilibrium state. So this left hand side and right hand side can be represented by a parameter beta 1 and beta 2. So the condition for the equilibrium is beta 1 is equal to beta 2, where in general beta can be defined as del ln omega by del E. Now beta is a very important parameter. We just find that when two physical systems are brought into thermal contact, which allows an exchange of energy between them, this exchange continues until the equilibrium values E1 bar and E2 bar of the variables E1 and E2 are reached. Once these values are reached, there is no more net exchange of energy between the two systems. The systems are then said to have attained a state of thermal equilibrium. According to our analysis, this happens only when the respective values of the parameters beta, namely beta 1 and beta 2, become equal. It is then natural to expect that the parameter beta is somehow related to the thermodynamic parameter T of a given system. To determine this relationship, we recall the thermodynamic formula del S by del E n comma V is equal to 1 by T. So this is one of the important thermodynamic formula which we have already read in our thermodynamic textbooks. Now you just compare this famous equation with the equation just derived earlier. You say here beta is equivalent to del ln omega by del E, and here this is del S by del E. So del ln omega by del E is comparable to the del S by del E, and the left hand side this is beta. Beta is comparable to the 1 by T. Here S is the entropy of the system. Now we are comparing equation 3 and 4, and we conclude that an intimate relationship exists between the thermodynamic quantity S and the statistical quantity omega, because you see from the nature of the equation, this is del S by del E and this is del ln omega by del E. So in the numerator there is omega here and here S is there. So there must be some relationship with the statistical parameter S, thermodynamical parameter S with the statistical parameter omega. There must be some relationship, because both of the relationship defines the equilibrium of the system. Now suppose you are dividing equation 3 by equation 4. Then we can write, if you divide those equation, then delta S divided by delta ln omega is equal to 1 by beta T, and that should be a constant. This correspondence was first established by Boltzmann, who also believed that since the relationship between the thermodynamic approach and the statistical approach seems to be of a fundamental character, the constant appearing in this particular equation must be a universal constant. And it was Planck who first wrote the explicit formula S equal to k ln omega. So this equation was first written by Planck, and this k is known as the Boltzmann constant, and this equation was written without any additive constant S0. As it stands, this particular formula 6 determines the absolute value of the entropy of a given physical system in terms of the total number of microstate accessible to it in conformity with the given macrostate. You again look at the formula. So we can say the zero of entropy, that is when S is equal to 0. The zero of entropy then corresponds to the special state for which only one microstate is accessible, that is when omega is equal to 1. When omega is equal to 1, we know that ln 1 is equal to 0. So at that particular case, that is when there will be 0 entropy, then omega will be 1, the so called unique configuration. That is only one configuration is possible. The statistical approach thus provides a theoretical basis for the third law of thermodynamics as well. So this particular formula is of fundamental importance in physics. It provides a bridge between the macroscopic and microscopic. You see omega that is a microscopic parameter. This is the total number of microstates, whereas S, that is entropy, it is a macroscopic parameter. So this particular equation provides a bridge between the microscopic and the macroscopic parameters. Now in the study of the second law of thermodynamics, we are told that the law of increase of entropy is related to the fact that the energy content of the universe in its natural course is becoming less and less available for conversion into work. We have read in our thermodynamics textbooks. Accordingly, the entropy of a given system may be regarded as a measure of the so-called disorder or chaos prevailing in the system. The formula, that is S is equal to k ln omega, tells us how disorder arises microscopically, because omega is a microscopic parameter, S is a macroscopic parameter. So how this disorder arises microscopically, that is known from the equation 6. Clearly, disorder is a manifestation of the largeness of the number of microstates the system can have. So when there will be disorder, the number of microstates will be increased. The larger the choice of microstates, the lesser the degree of predictability, and hence the increased level of disorder in the system. Complete order prevails when and only when the system has no other choice but to be in a unique configuration state, that is omega is equal to 1. This in turn corresponds to a state of vanishing entropy. So from the equation 5 and 6, as we have told, that is if you divide the equation, then we can have beta is equal to 1 by kt. So what is k? K is the Boltzmann constant. So this is also one of the important equation, that is the parameter that we have just derived, beta, that is equal to the 1 by kt, where T is the temperature and K is the Boltzmann constant. So I think you have understood the lecture. For further understanding, I request all the viewers to go through the textbook of R.K. Pathria and P.D. Bill. And thank you all for listening the lecture.